All right, I had no intention on doing something, but I received. Let's do this. I received two bottles today, and look at the color on these. These are two different bourbons. Look at the colors on that. They are identical. They are. I have held these up to the glass outside my kitchen window. I've held them up to the glass in the kitchen. Or to the light in the kitchen. I've held them up to different lights, and the color of these two bourbons, which are different bourbons, is freaking identical. That is, oh, all right. For those of you who don't drink bourbon, Scott will pipe in here. My bourbon drinking friends will pipe in here. This is extremely uncommon to see two different bourbons that are different proof, and as far as I know, different distilleries have that. Look at how that is uncommon to see them to be that identical in color. All right, some bourbons have a little more gold in them, some have a little more brown, some have a little more red. I'm gonna do this again, and I apologize for overdoing this. Look at that. They are freaking identical in color. Anyway, what I don't want this page to become is a bourbon sampling page. I don't want that, but it's going to happen from time to time. I'm going to do that once in a while for sure, because hey, we're talking about bourbon. But this page I want to be about experiencing the bourbon and talking about, what do you want, what do you not want, what do you want to try, what do you not want to try, that kind of thing. More about a discussion about bourbon than about sampling and tasting the bourbon itself. But I had to do this because I did get these two bottles, and they are so freaking identical. I wanted to show that to somebody. Anyway, so what do I have here? This came from a gentleman that I work with. I gave him some samples of. I gave him a sample of Booker's in one of these bottles. I gave him a sample of Booker's, and he showed me a picture of his, shelf, his bourbons that he has at home, and he said, pick one. So I looked at four. There were four things that I either hadn't tried at all, or I hadn't tried that specific variety, and I said, look, these are the four that I'm interested in. You pick me one, and he gave me two. So I'm guessing that this one is a never gonna find it again. I'm not sure. I'll look it up eventually. But this one is probably something that you could find somewhere. Anyway, the two of them are. This is a Wild Turkey Jimmy Russell 70th 8-year bourbon. Wild Turkey, of course, it's 101 proof. No shock there, right? So Wild Turkey Jimmy Russell 70th 8-year 101 proof. And this is a Bardstown Origin Series wheated. They might both be impossible to find again. I don't know. And this is 106 proof. But I'm more curious about this Wild Turkey. I assume that one of these days I will end up talking about Wild Turkey anyway, but for the price, if you just get Wild Turkey 101, you get that at your Meijer. You get it wherever you want to get it. Wild Turkey 101. For the price, it's hard to beat. It is difficult to beat. It's not great, and it has an aftertaste that I really, really do not like. But on the whole, for the price, Wild Turkey 101 is solid. That is a solid bourbon. So anyway, I'm going to do a thing that I haven't done quite some time, and I'm not going to get out my bourbon wheel. I'm not going to get out all my stuff and look at it. I am just going to sit down, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to walk you through the flavors that I'm catching in this bourbon, and what I think of it, and what its changes. Now, I think that before you drink, you should always either cleanse your palate completely with water, or have whatever it is you expect you'll regularly have with your bourbon prior to drinking it. So, Wait, this is going to run a little long. That's 5 minutes already. And I'm sorry. We'll get there. So, like, for me, for example, it is unusual for me to just sit down and drink bourbon by itself. I'm either going to have some kind of chips or pretzels or something, and very likely a beer or a Coke or something. I'm not going to drink water with my bourbon because, in my opinion, that defeats the purpose. But some people do it, and I understand why. But anyway, so before you start drinking your bourbon, in my view, have a little bit of that. If you're gonna sit down and have a snack, have the snack first, then the bourbon. Have the beer first, have the Coke first, then pour the bourbon and get them going together. So I've had a couple of beers today, Oberon Eclipse to be exact, and we are going to go with the Wild Turkey Jimmy Reserve 70th, an 8-year bourbon. I was going to tell you about what the age means, and I'm not going to do that this time because I'm already 6 minutes in. 101, Wild Turkey 101. All right, so there we go. So I'm going to try to do this quickly now because I want to keep this under 10 minutes. That's nice. Very sweet. And so I used to, excuse me, I used to not even, if I'd stick my nose in there, high proof bourbon would give me a burn, especially here, right? And here. Not so much in the front and not so much like back in the throat, whatever, but really right here I would get a nice burn. But I think I've had enough bourbon that my body has just said, yeah, we're used to that. So I don't get an ethanol burn anymore. This smells exceptionally sweet. And that can be bad because I want my bourbon to have a flavor that's not overpowering sweet. But this sweetness this smells very nice. This smells sweet in a way that I am not concerned about. Let's give it a sip. It is sweet, but not overpoweringly sweet. Not overpoweringly sweet. But it's sweet. It's good. This is a dessert bourbon if there ever was one, I would say. This reminds me of, it's from my memory here. This reminds me of 1792 Single Barrel. Nice and sweet. Very good, right? And this finish on it is like, it just sits there. It's not overpowering. I can't talk. It's not overpowering, but it's got a finish that just sits on your tongue, which I love. No aftertaste. No aftertaste. The first taste and the last taste, they are the same. Mm. Yeah, that's really good. There's almost no heat to it. The flavor is really nice. It doesn't have a lot of different flavors. It's got a sweetness to it, so there's like a vanilla caramel thing. Obviously, when it comes to bourbon, vanilla and caramel do not taste like vanilla and caramel, but you're having these little tinges, right? These little tweaks of vanilla and caramel in there. This sweetness, I mean, just to make it simple, this sweetness. There's like no cinnamon in there. There's no, hang on one second. There's a little banana in there, which I love. So, I'll get to a bourbon later on. One of these days, I will talk about a bourbon that's got some banana in there that I love. And I had read about it. Start babbling here. I'd heard about banana flavor in bourbon, and I'd never sensed it before. And then once I did, I absolutely loved it. I think that's what I'm getting here, more so than caramel. That's got a little banana flavor, and I will ask the guy who gave me this if he's sensing that too. So anyway, that's good. That's really good. I really didn't expect to be doing any kind of a video today or this week at all. I just kind of expected to put it off until next week. But like I said, I did get 2 bottles, and again, let me repeat myself. Unbelievable how similar the color is. I just, that was stunning to me. You just do not see that. Like Booker's. We'll go on real quick. Booker's has a considerable redness to it. It's not like a deep red, but you'll know if you're drinking a Booker's and you hold it up to the light, you're gonna see you get that and you get another glass of bourbon. Hold them both up to the light. Most of the time, the Booker's is gonna be your more red bourbon. So anyway, this was good. And I just wanted to put something out there just because I had these two, and I'm repeating myself again. The similarity in color of those two just blew my mind. And this is excellent. And I want to thank the guy who got it for me, who probably doesn't even watch my videos, but yeah, Wild Turkey and Wild Turkey Rare Breed both do have a little aftertaste, and I just really do not care for. We are not getting that here. It's the same throughout. The finish is just like the beginning. Really good nose on this. Very sweet. All that kind of thing. I could repeat myself indefinitely, but how about I just let you go? So it was Wild Turkey Jimmy Reserve 70th 8-year 101 proof. See you guys all in a week.